I'm trying to be gracious here and not too smug, because when I speak, it's for your benefit. Good afternoon, welcome to Turbo Tortoise Tech. If you're new here, I'm Reese of the 4-piece Royalty or Gooooooooood Triple XL. Today's going to be a bit different. When I do reviews and stuff, you've got to ask yourself the question, why does a man that was national sales at ASUS want to do tech reviews? It's because I want to help you with the insight and the knowledge that I've gathered over from starting with PCs about 9 years old on a P2 400 megahertz that still ran sim memory. Some of you are going to have to go and Google what that even is, because I'm old school. Okay, I've been there since MechWarrior 2, which I'll put on your screen now. Look at that. We had boxes where they had flat brown textures on it, and we were happy. We called that gaming. What? And now we have like games that kind of beg belief, and it's really GPU, as I foreshadowed, is the one area where the upgrade limitation is almost endless, because resolution can just carry on scaling into 8K and ridiculous sort of levels, and along with it, the requirements for video memory and processing power just kind of endlessly scale as well, until eventually you hit photorealism sort of area. Now we're getting quite close to that with Unreal 5. It's unreal what it can do, but we are getting there ever so slowly and stuff. There are unfortunate shortcuts which a lot of game creators are taking, and technology manufacturers. This 50 series is positioning itself almost like the 20 series. It's a new technology that's in its trial and its infancy status. The actual core is still in the same TSMC process. For those of you who perhaps haven't watched a 5080 review at this point, it's a very much like for like in that perspective. A lot is being centered around the new transformer model and the DLSS 4 effect, where you can take DLSS 2, 3, and 3.5 games and actually upscale them to DLSS 4 and use the transformer model. And so what today's review is going to be centered around is more the experience that we derive from this new product. So let us start off with our test candidate, the new Palit, which has vapor chambers in amongst this incredibly large GPU. Is a tiny little PCB that is surrounded by one of the biggest flipping coolers I've ever seen in my entire life. And does it work? Yes. Does it make a noise? Basically no. There's nothing for me to test from an audio profile from the graphics card, at least. But yeah, the coil one from my poor 850 watt gold, it kept up, but it didn't like it. Let me just put it that way. You put to use the new RTX 3.0 connector, so just be careful when you connect it. Please make sure that there's no space over there, because it's passing a lot of wattage, like 500 watts worth of power is going to be going through there at some point, but at least 400. So if you leave a gap, it's going to arc across that gap and cause a fire. So just don't do that. Be aware that that's the thing. This GPU, however, would be very nice for vertical mounting. If we look at the main area over here, which is, ever so nicely over to my left, there's a very nice infinity mirror type of setup going on over there. And I've got to say, I actually do quite like the way it looks. It's kind of mesmerizing in some way. With the green and blue especially, it kind of makes me feel like ripples of water. I actually quite like that. Nice big GameRock on the side as well, so that you know kind of what it is. And then one of the biggest pass-through cooling areas with the least amount of space being taken, because there's nothing. They just literally cut a hole in the back plate. And they were like, there you go, there's your pass-through cooling. Then on the side where the ATX plug is, there is still the RGB sync. It's not dual way, so it's to sync from the software that comes from Palit. You can't actually, it was a mistake I made in one of the other reviews. It's not bi-directional. That's so that with the Palit software, what comes out of the card sync, you could sync with your other RGB stuff if you wanted to go about doing it that way. At least they give you the option, which is kind of nice. You've got 3 display ports and an HDMI port. It's very, very default on its connectivity around the back. It's incredibly thick. It's incredibly large, and you are going to need a big case. I'll put the dimensions and the weight on screen for you, but it's flipping massive, yo. When I took it out of the box first time, I was stunned because I put it next to my 3070 Ti Supreme X and it made it look small for the first time. Even the 4080s didn't really do that. So yeah, it's hefty. Overall, I'll give the build quality, I'd say, an 8.5 out of 10. That's where it kind of makes me feel like it's at. There's a lot of plastic on the shroud and stuff, but the cooling, really nothing but good things to write home about as far as that goes. The fans and stuff, excellent. The noise level, basically zero. I never once heard this thing in amongst all of my testing. My CPU had a lot of work to do loading up Stalker 2, just saying, with all the shader caching and stuff like that. But anyway, this is where we get to the testing portion. Let's give you the test bench spec. So we are 9800 X3D powered. We do have an X870-P from MSI. We do have Klevv 6200 MHz CL32, and the TRAS and TCAS timing are 38. So it is pretty sharp. It is pretty good memory. I did a review of that recently, and we've kept it on the test bed for this. We've just got a standard Western Digital SN570 for storage, 2 TB NVMe. It's fast enough for everything. And then, like I said, our PM850D, our Deepcool, that was the one thing that did make noise because it was under a lot of pressure with this much graphics card attached to it, but it ran and it gave me performance metrics like on 3D Mark that were in line with other tests and stuff with this configuration of CPU and GPU. So we're in line there, which is a really good start. Now for the generational test, this is where I'm going to get a little bit smug because I've been saying for years that Firestrike and TimeSpy give you such an accurate idea of rasterizing differences between GPUs. In general, I initially tested 20 games when we first launched Turbo Tortoise Tech, and I found that if I took the average difference across 20 games, it was within 1% of what I saw on the difference between cards on Firestrike and TimeSpy. So when I tell you that this is the best way to test it, your hardware, and take the averages even from like those 2 tests alone, and that's going to be what you experience, that's consistent with all of the market data around the 5080 right now. This is my disapproving stare in old man again. That's why I say when I speak, it's for your benefit. There's the evidence. I don't have to prove anything because it proves itself. Please, I'm trying to help you. I promise. Then for scaling tests, I wanted to see 1080p versus 1440p, how much performance difference. And yeah, with Black Myth Wukong, you are going to have like a 40%. And it just shows how inefficient that game coding really is, because I didn't experience anything like that when I played Stalker 2, which is still running on Unreal 5 and has much bigger areas than Black Myth Wukong. I'm looking at you, Wukong developers. I don't know what you were doing there, but you need to catch a wake up. Anyway, with ancestral games, esports sort of games, we just did a quick test with Counter-Strike 2, and yeah, basically 3 and 16%, almost no difference between them. So yeah, it will scale on ancestral games, and then I just doubled down on that test with Cras Remastered, just to double check that that was consistent, and it was only 7 and 9%. So it was actually even less performance degradation. So you can do 1440p, basically lossless. You're going to get all of the advantage of your CPU and GPU combo with this, which is flipping really nice. But the big thing that was changed, and the reason that I had to sulk a little bit on Alicia, Nvidia asked me not to do the review until the new driver came out. And I was like, but why? That just doesn't make any sense to me, but okay, let's see what you got. And what they had up their sleeve was the DLSS 4 transformer, which allows you to take DLSS 2 and 3 content, if games only have that support, and actually override it with the driver and make it run on DLSS 4, which is a flipping cool idea, right? Because then you can go off of a normal scaling model that they had previously into their new transformer model, which is exclusive to the 50 series worth of GPUs. They are updating as well for 40 series, some support with that, which is really cool. And they launched a new Nvidia Broadcast, which is way better functionally than the 1.4 version, except I ran into a problem live on stream just yesterday with it. So they still got to work out a couple of kinks and bugs and stuff with it, but the new feature set and stuff that they've done with it are actually flipping exceptional. Then I was like, okay, let's test on 1440p native versus DLSS performance in the usual culprits, Cyberpunk, Metro, and F123 being 3 of the games that generally have that sort of better performance. I cannot stress this enough. the visual difference, which I'm going to show you with Stalker 2. I haven't figured out a way to do benchmarking on Stalker 2 reliably. I prefer things with built-in benchmarks because then it's always a consistent testing environment. But you can see visually how much better the new DLSS is. What I would experience before was exceptional amounts of artifacting, even on my 40 series. Yeah, it was terrible on visual. Frame rate was always good. It was a huge bump. I was going from like 60 to 120. It was literally doubling the frame rate. Now it's even better than that. Even with me recording with Nvidia, it felt silky smooth on my 165 Hz 1440p monitor. So yeah, you can see based on the video that I've showed you of capturing it, compared to native, it's significantly nicer. The new model is way sharper. It was something that they promised with the lead up to this, and I can say without a doubt it is much nicer to look at, especially with finer details like things with the tree leaves there in Cerca on Stalker 2 with that courtyard scene. You can see the performance effect of this. So taking that now, understanding that that's the visual improvement, honestly, even versus native, looking at the performance results that this gives, we're going to start off with the full DLSS 4 versus DLSS 3 test with Cyberpunk. The native 64 on the min, 72 on the average, 86 on the max. You're talking 150% performance uplifts into DLSS 3. Then a small gain again into the transformer model, but with the transformer model comes that visual fidelity that is way better than previous gen. I mean, you cannot even compare. I've had 2070 Super, 3070 Ti, and a 4070 currently. Yes, I know 4070 is a little bit entry level, but it was sponsored, so. But it still gave me the experience. I only game off of 1080p and 2K anyway, so it still gave me the experience of it, and it was significantly better. And then using that same DLSS, the old DLSS 3 on previous gen games as well, like Metro Exodus, which is normally a PC breaker, the native performance on it was significantly better. I was very shocked by that. That's on 1440p. I got a 102 average. Can you believe it? And then 147 average though is a 44% uplift. That's a big gain. And then similarly with F1, averaging at 153 on native, but then a 46% uplift over there once again, up to 59% on the minimum, so way more stable on the base frame rate. What does this feel like experience-wise? So where you have really good base native frame rate and then add DLSS, it's flipping exceptional. Your input delay is still based off of your base frame rate though, and you've seen that with all the other tests. So it will still, if your base frame rate is like 30 and you're getting now 150 or even 200 FPS, your input delay from your keyboard and mouse is still gonna feel like that. There is a new Nvidia Reflex 2, which does help to alleviate a lot of that problem, but it still can't take it away entirely. Your base frame rate is still going to dictate your input performance. Visually, however, obviously seeing 200 FPS versus 30, it's very noticeable. Even going just from like 100 to 150, it is quite noticeable on your feeling of your gaming and stuff. And then on esports titles, dudes, 517 FPS average while you are acting as the server. When I just go online with it and play on a hosted server, it's going to be over 600-700 FPS. That's more than enough. Even if you're on a 500 Hz monitor, you're pipping that level requirement. So in summary, it's same but different, but still same. This is a technology upgrade. It's largely focused around AI models and such. Things like DeepSeek, I don't think they saw coming. There's Alibaba's one, which is also coming out to be considered. But as gamers, is your 40 series completely obsolete? Not by any measure. The new transformer model is really promising, where it's getting 3 frames from the first one. Jensen on his actual presentation at CES was saying that they get 1 million pixels from 2, and it can pre-render frames as well. So yeah, that's kind of crazy that the technology is able to do that. And if you saw what they were doing with the robots and the AI and stuff, homie's bringing about our robot in the very near future. For gamers, I think it's still going to be a valid sort of replacement. The price point, we'll have to see how sharp they are versus previous gen. Currently, stock allocation is a big problem. We're not getting, there's basically no stock available the world over for 5080 and 5090. Do I think you really have to desperately go out and sell your 4080 Super to get a 5080? Probably not. If you were going to buy a 4080 Super already, just get the 5080. If it's the same price, definitely go for the new one, because then you get all of that DLSS functionality, where if it's an older game, it's going to be easier to render already. The offset of the transformer model though is it puts a lot more pressure on the hardware. So if your base frame rate is low, even with it active, it's actually going to lower that base frame rate and then make your input delay worse, funnily enough. But if you're getting a good base frame rate like at 100 and then it dips to say 90 on your base frame rate to enable the transformer model, that's really not that bad. I've got to say, it feels kind of flipping amazing. Like I say, I played some Stalker 200 and the foliage, I was whinging about it so much on stream. I was like, oh, why does this look all artifacts and stuff? That is eliminated. Like eliminated. It's so much better. Games like Tarkov are seeing frame rate gains of like 100 to 150. It's a 50% better frame rate. And when you're playing a combat shooter and stuff, that's really, really nice. And that doesn't increase the input delay. You can use the override functionality on that, and it doesn't increase your input delay because your frame rate, your base frame rate drops by 5 ms. So, but visually it's way smoother. So it's much easier to hit moving targets and stuff. Overall, it's difficult to say it's incredibly amazing, but I can see what Nvidia is trying to do, and I hope that they continue to refine it and then give us backward support for 40 series as well. It's not a huge generational leap. It's more about the new technology that's coming out with it. Those are the facts. These are the stats. Use it, don't use it. Anywho, that is all I have for you on the RTX 5080. These are available at Uncle Evetech. There will be more stock coming as soon as they get it. And honestly, based on this, I'm actually really excited for 5070 and 5070 Ti, because I think those are going to be extremely price competitive. If you were in the market for a premium GPU, it's still a premium GPU. I do, however, wish this was a 20 gig card. That's the only thing I wish that they changed, was for 4K resolution, just make the available memory a bit bigger. The 5090 is always there if you just want to go Captain Insano kind of levels of performance. Hashtag just saying. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. If you've enjoyed this, please do hit us up with a like and subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side.